Fury, and that was the news, but I didn't know that Wilder and all that legal stuff had jumped in between all that. The PGA Championship coming up this week at Kiawah Island. Mark Carnevale, the PGA Tour Radio Network on Sirius XM, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Mark, thanks for your...
SicEm365 Radio's coverage of the PGA Championship at the Ocean Course, Kiawah Island, South Carolina, is brought to you by Bear Ridge.
Bear Ridge Golf Course, where Tommy Tompkins and company have done an amazing job of taking what was almost lost and turning it into a golf course that is really, really getting back to its history at Bear Ridge 84 in Waco. We're now joined by Mark Carnevale, the PGA Tour Radio Network on Sirius XM. Mark, thank you. I look at the pictures of Kiawah Island. It's got a links course look to it. Is it a links course?
I would say so. I mean, it is the design certainly by Pete Dye, and that was in mind. It's not, I would say it's not your typical links course. I know they elevated some of the tees, they elevated some of the greens, but it kind of goes out on one side and comes back on. Normally a links course will go all the way out to 9 and then come straight back on the other 9 holes. The two nines are separated a little bit, but it certainly has the feel of it with the dunes and the Atlantic Ocean just off to the east. So it may not be exactly a links course as was designed back in the 17 and 1800s, but it's pretty darn close.
Mark, from the last couple of weeks, are there anybody that you have your eye on that's kind of crept up above the normal names that played well, especially out of the Masters?
Well, no question. I was actually, when you look at Sam Burns, didn't play great on the weekend, but he's playing awfully well. He's had a great season. He's a guy that certainly look at it. And you look at, at Rory McIlroy, who won 2 weeks ago at Wells Fargo, and obviously he was the winner here back in 2012. And there's been a lot of talk about Rory this season leading. In January, it just seemed to be, he was kind of bad. He was going after that distance too much. He even admitted that. But I think Rory's playing very well. But it's kind of a situation where I don't, normally you go into a major championship or a big tournament and there seems to be a definite favorite. I don't know if there is one this week.
Yeah, I don't see it like with the Koepka, him coming back from the injuries, missed the cut at the AT&T Byron Nelson. Among some of the others, Spieth seems to be playing much, much better this year, but on occasion still kind of strays. Is there somebody that matches this kind of course better? Is that because McIlroy from Europe, and maybe that makes sense?
Well, I think with McIlroy, it's the way he drove the ball when he won here in 2012, and he's starting to drive the ball a little better. He's that long, and when you're that long and straight, it's certainly a huge advantage. But you look at the normal guy, the guys you think of, Dustin Johnson. Mm-hmm. He hasn't been on great form this year. You mentioned Brooks Koepka, and I'm trying to think of Morikawa, but Colin Morikawa wins he's the defending champion of the PGA Championship, but there were no fans there. I think that's a huge difference. Again, not taking anything away from Colin Morikawa, but I think fans there creates a different atmosphere, both positively and negatively for players. Bryson DeChambeau. There's always talk about Bryson DeChambeau. If the wind comes up, certainly if Bryson can control the golf ball, you have to consider him. But he hasn't played great golf as of late. Had a great weekend at the Wells Fargo, but it's Justin Thomas certainly. He had some good rounds up Players Championship, another Pete Dye golf course, very different here at the Ocean Course. But those are the guys you certainly expect and would think would be in the mix. But as I said, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be a week where a player that putter's going to win, because I think it's about controlling the golf ball and kind of dealing with the mental aspect of what Pete Dye does, and certainly the ocean course will do to you.
Yeah, he can make you look at that. Now, were you a rookie the year after they hosted the Ryder Cup at Kiawah Island?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I remember watching it on TV.
Was that the Bernhard Langer missed putt? Is that? Am I trying to get? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was the Bernhard Langer, and then Mark Calcavecchi, who had a big lead. Lost the lead. I can't remember whether he had the match or lost it, but he wandered off on the dunes and was crying, and they had to console him, and so those were the two probably biggest memorable parts of that Ryder Cup.
How often have you played Kiawah Island?
I've only played it. Yeah, I've only played it once.
Wow.
And it's been some time ago, maybe about 15 years ago, prior to them hosting the PGA Championship.
Jordan Spieth had a nice weekend in his hometown. Do you think he's poised to? I mean, we keep kind of waiting for Jordan to get back in a major, but he's played his best stretches lately of golf. Do you think he's ready to get back and win another major?
Well, I think he's certainly trending that way, and even still, Jordan won, right before the Masters down at the Valero Texas Open. Was kind of there at the Masters for a little while. Last week he was there, but he's still struggling with his iron play a little bit, particularly in his approaches. But when you have a guy that can putt the ball the way Jordan does, he's certainly at a point where he needs to be considered, where maybe over the last couple of years, maybe not so much. So I think absolutely he is someone you need to pay attention to.
It looks like just such a beautiful course. It really. I just told everyone a minute ago, Mark, that I put one of the holes, I'm not sure which one it is my desktop background. So when it locks, because it's just got all those different colors. When you played it, even though it's been a while, is it intimidating? How intimidating can it be? Because there's a lot of, you have to carry the marsh and all the bunkers and all the sand.
I wouldn't say it was intimidating. It was distracting, if that makes any sense.
Distracting.
It's mental. One of the things Pete Dye has always done, and again, his golf course designs. I mean, you got Hilton Head with Harbor Town. You got the stadium course at Sawgrass, and here he takes your focus away from kind of what you need to be doing with his design, and that's what I felt here. I mean, it could be intimidating. The winds are up. It can somewhat be intimidating, but I wasn't overwhelmed with the golf course in the sense that you'll get some players who'll go there and I can't play this. I never felt that. It's just a challenge, and as I said, it's a course that can be very distracting visually and sort of take your attention away from where you need to be focused on.
Is it fair for me to compare, and I know you can just knock me out on this one, but when they played at Bethpage Black, there were carries on the tee box that seemed like they were maybe impossible. Does this have any of that to it at all?
If the wind comes up, yes. But one thing Pete Dye does, he gives you an out.
Okay.
So, there are some spots where if you want to try to carry it a little further, you can, but you don't have to. He gives you a chance to play the hole, but he challenges you to play those tough lines, though.
All right, Mark, thank you very much, man. Good luck with the broadcast, as always.
You got it. My pleasure. You guys have a great night.
You too. That's Mark Carnevale, former Rookie of the Year of the PGA Tour, also now a part of the PGA, has been for a long time, the PGA Radio Network, with us on SicEm365 Radio. It is absolutely just beautiful, the different colors of green, whether it's lime green or it's the lush green, and, of course, the bunkers. It looks like a links course, but it doesn't so much play like one, even though when he was building the course, it's off the ocean, and he had somebody tell him, hey, you're not letting the players see the ocean. So they had to raise up the fairway so they could actually see the ocean, because otherwise they didn't see it from the angles of the course. Beautiful, beautiful course. All right, when we come back, we'll hear from Casey Keeler.